All right, well, guys, we've got a quorum here, so I think it's 5:30, so let's go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Okay.
Because I don't get to eat until after this meeting's over, and I'm gonna be hungry, and I'm cold. I got my tea, but it's too hot to drink.
My supper's in the oven, so let's get moving, right?
Yeah, that's right. Let's get moving. Thank you so much, Lisa. Once we get started, can you leave us?
Yes, Cindy, you're all set to begin, but
All right.
Bruce McDermott, I gave you the host capabilities, so you have to let him into the meeting. If
Okay,
you click
so
on
let me see.
participants at the bottom, where it
Yep,
has the icon, then off to the right, it says attendees,
yep.
and then hover over
Wait,
his
wait, wait,
name,
wait,
and
wait, wait, wait. I got participants.
you have panelists.
I don't have anything on the side here. Maybe my view is wrong.
Do you click on participants?
Click on
Click.
participants at the
Oh,
bottom of the
okay. All right,
screen.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, all right. So if he comes into attendees, then I click on him. Is that all I do, or I?
Right, if you hover over his name and
Mhm.
attendees, it should give you an option to promote him to panelist.
All right, awesome. Okay, excellent.
As soon as he comes in, you'll be all set.
Okay, thank you so much,
You're
Lisa.
welcome.
All right, awesome. All right, I've already written down everybody, so we're all done with roll call. So the first thing we have to do is approve the minutes of January 10th that Lisa sent out for us. Does anybody have any changes or corrections to the minutes?
No.
I don't think
But
so.
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay,
Second,
Leanne?
second, yes.
Okay, and so all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, all right.
Cindy, were you able to move him over?
I don't see him. He's
Click
not on
on
my
him.
list.
Is he under attendees?
Oh,
Do you
whoops,
see
I'm
the
on
tab?
panelist.
Yeah, go on
Attendees
a tab.
one, Bruce. Allow to talk, is that what I say?
Promote to panelist.
Promote to panelist.
Do you see
Yeah, I
that?
did, I was on panelist, so then of course I. will
There
be-
you go. There you go. He's moving
All
over
right.
now.
There we
Okay.
go. Oh,
Okay.
awesome.
All right. Have a good
Awesome.
meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi,
Hey,
Bruce.
Bruce.
Hi, how you doing? Boy, what a deal this is getting on here today.
That was my fault. That was my fault. I'm sorry. I'll own it.
Okay,
She told me to do it, and then I was waiting for you, but I was looking in the wrong spot. So that was my fault. So I'm sorry. So we are called to order and we just approved the minutes. Did you read the minutes? Do you have any changes or additions? Or anything? No? All right.
He's muted.
All right. So approval of minutes carries. I have to say, although she can't come today to the meeting, she can't attend the meeting, Tabitha, I have to thank her for taking the minutes, writing them up and sending them to me like really quickly. So that was awesome. I should learn something from that. And then I'm gonna go right into communications because I've received a few that I wanted to share with you. I did receive an email from Jim Rymash, R-Y-M-A-S-H, regarding the, he'd like to see an evergreen plantings along Route 1. I received an email from Chris Bates, who is the owner of Sound Design LLC, interested in participating in or helping with our plans, our landscape plans. I received I think from Mr. Burt at the town, he had received information from the Mystic Garden Club saying that they did not want to take care of the fountain and that it was really the town's.
How about if we make that a separate subject?
I'm just saying, this is just communications. This is just
Okay.
communications. So I received a communication about from John about the fact that the Mystic Garden Club didn't want to continue taking care of that and asking us if we'd be willing to take it on. So those were just communications. And then the last communication, and I don't want to knock you guys over, but I did hear from Jamie Pearson on the 12th of January that he would not be doing the mural for us, that he was not able to do that. And he gave us the name of a close friend, another artist, Kevin Bauchio, who would be willing to do the work for us. But we will be talking more about that under unfinished business. I'm just trying to, this is just communications right now. Does anybody have any other communications they'd like to share with the group?
We can talk about it more, but I did communicate with John Grossman, trying to find the teacher that handles the agricultural courses at the VOTEC.
Uh-huh.
I emailed John again. He had forgotten about it. He told me that the gentleman would be calling. He has not called, so I just emailed John again and said, could you ask permission for me to call him directly?
Okay.
And I'll tell you all about what the idea is that Aileen had.
Okay.
So,
Right.
Cindy, let me ask, what happened with Jamie? He said he's not going to do it?
He said he wasn't able to do it.
Did he say why?
He said it wasn't going to work into his schedule.
Wow, because he sent me an email and I thought we were on to do it when I got back.
I thought we were on to do it also. This was January 12th was the day I received the text message from him.
Yeah,
you
I don't know what the date was. I got my email from him, if it was.
Yeah, I mean,
before.
we'd been talking about it as though it was going forward. And then he just let me know in January that it wasn't going to be
Oh,
going
man.
forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gee,
Yeah,
that's-
so I'll give you the spelling and everything in this other gentleman's this other gentleman who I spoke with yesterday.
Okay.
Cindy,
Yes.
I wondered if anyone was able to reach out to all the artists that are working in New London on all of those murals that have been going up in New London.
Recently?
Well, not this winter, but yeah, no, I mean, when you look around New London, there are so many new and old as well, but obviously artists are working there, and maybe that should be.
Well,
There's some
I don't
real
want to
checkered
make any.
work there, though. There's some real checkered work there.
Right, there's
Yeah.
some, but there's some really good pieces as well, just like in Westerly. I mean, that's, yeah. I
Right,
only
that
put
was,
out.
Jamie had said he would do this at no cost, and that was, and we also really liked his work. Now,
Right.
Kevin has agreed to do the same thing. His work is quite a bit different. So we'll need to look at that. But I have not tried to track down anybody else. I would like to keep it as easy as possible. And so I'm not,
Okay.
I'm
I'm working with the Parks Department on the murals that are going on to the Fitch, the old Fitch Middle. So I'll keep you apprised of what's going on there.
all right.
And
Well,
I've given some names of people to Mark, and he's followed up on some of that stuff. I
Okay.
haven't heard from him in a few days, but
all right. So
that is going forward.
that's on, I've got that. I would want to hear a little more about that under unfinished business. Any other communications from anyone? Thank you. All right. So my first thing on unfinished business was mural. The mural, Jamie, I heard from, he knows someone, his name is Kevin Bauchio, Bauccio. I spoke with him. He was a very delightful young man. I spoke with him. He's very enthusiastic. He was an actual professional painter for years and is trying to now do more art versus, paying just doing it as a professional painting houses. He's done a number of murals. He said he specializes more in, he gave me 3 things: pop art, optical illusions, and realism, meaning that you might look at something immediately and then see something else within it, as far as optical illusions. I did look on his Facebook page. There wasn't a ton of stuff on there, but I'm wondering if I need to try to friend him so I can see more of his work. If anybody wants to go to his Facebook page, it's Kevin Bauchio, Bauccio. And he was very nice. He would like us to do what we did before, which was he called a spitball for 2 minutes to come up with ideas, but I told him already that it was, I said, I believe nautical. What are the things that make sure boats don't crash into you in the water? The ledge light is a
Lighthouse.
lighthouse. Yeah, lighthouse. Sorry, you're rubbing off on me, Leanne.
I love it.
The Groton past, present, future. What? And I told him I know I have a list. So is anything else that we want to throw out there? I was gonna send him a text, and then he said he'd kind of do 2 quick kind of sketches for us.
Great. Maybe Bruce could talk with him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Would you be
I've corresponded with some of the artists that we're talking about for Fitch, so.
okay? Do you want me to, I'll send Kevin a text and say I'm gonna give you his
Yeah,
contact information?
sure. No, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. He was also very interested in getting people in school involved in some way, just so letting young people know that what you can do with art. So anyways, I then corresponded with Jamie a little bit, and I think I didn't query him too much. I said it was very nice to work with him and we really enjoyed his things and maybe we could work together in the future, but I didn't, probe him about why he wasn't able to do it. So, all right, so that was Bruce. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing? Because I noticed you were going to attend a Zoom meeting with Mark Berry and them.
Yeah, I did. The project is going forward, kind of put a budget on it of $10,000 to $15,000. Those are some big spaces that have to be put together. So that's kind of the tentative number that's been put on it.
So that's more than one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's two, you could even make it 3 sections really. But I've talked to one of the artists that did the Mystic Seaport thing. Has anybody but me seen it? The one that it's a gal by the name of Sue McNally. She's a Rhode Island artist. We opened it up to Rhode Island and Connecticut artists. Just because there's a lot more stuff going on in Rhode Island than there is in Connecticut.
Okay.
But if you have a chance, go over there and take a look at it. It's really it's an abstract thing.
Where exactly is it again? I know you've told us before.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
if you're standing in front of the, where Latitude Restaurant is?
Yes.
Okay, that's where the north gate is to get
Okay.
into the seaport.
Okay.
And that's where the new building is that's shaped like a wave.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, you go in that gate or go through the new building there.
Okay.
And right on the water almost is this vertical building. And it's a pretty high building. I would say it's maybe 35 feet, 40 feet tall. And she's painted this mural, which is extremely colorful, quite good, from top to bottom.
Wow.
And she
Okay.
used a cherry picker to get at it, one of
Okay.
these things that you have to go up into the air. So that's an immediate one that we can look at. And I gave Mark her name. And actually I could probably send the link to everybody if you can't get over there to look at it, but it's much more impressive to look at it in person,
Okay.
of course.
Okay.
She's just one person that I've talked to, and I've done a bit more research on some of the other folks, but I found that Wendy Burry is not helpful to us at all. The Mystic Art Association is less than helpful. I've been rather disappointed by some of that. So I think we're going to be left on our own for the most part, which is okay. As Nancy says, we can check out other folks here and there, and you know, it's not hard to do. It's just that
Right.
it takes some legwork to get at it. That's all. And to put a number on it, and frankly, I'm doing some work on, I'm reading up on murals myself, just so when I talk with these people, I talk with them intelligently about some of the paints they use and so forth,
Okay,
and how they go about it. But, you know, a lot of these muralists are not folks that are strictly artists that do murals. A lot of them, as you have said, Cindy, are people that have been sign painters, all other kinds of things that are kind of related, but not exactly the kind of a fine artist that you would think of going down to the Mystic Art Association and seeing a painting done.
right.
So we have a lot more latitude, I think, and it's kind of opened my eyes up a little bit too, because I thought that they were all like artists, but they're really not quite in that category, which is good, because
Right.
otherwise they're kind of limited to a 2D kind of abstract look at whatever they do. So I'm
Yeah.
anxious to get back. I'll do as much as I can beforehand.
Uh-huh.
And I was looking forward to helping Jamie do that mural, but I guess that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But maybe the other guy is interested. I don't
Or
know.
Yeah.
maybe you should do it, Bruce. I think Bruce should just do it.
Well, yeah,
You know what, if, you know, what is it called? See one, do one, teach one, but so
Right.
it would be nice if we could at least have someone who's done it before, and then the second one. Here we go. Okay, Bruce.
yeah.
Paint
We
by
need somebody with
Under-
experience.
underlings.
We want somebody with experience on this thing. So
So
We'll
kind of
have it.
linked with this, kind
we'll
of
get it
linked with,
done.
Thank you, Bruce.
Sure.
kind of linked with this, Cindy, is the expense. And we've talked about this before, and I'll just ask again. Are we applying for any of the ARP money? And have you heard anything about applications for it so we don't miss our opportunity?
I have heard nothing about it, and we, as far as I know, we are not applying for anything.
I
unless-
have talked to John Bird about that, actually.
Okay, all right,
Because I was talking to him about funding a sculpture that I have made. So, but the same thing holds true. He told me, this was last week, that there is in about a month or two, there will be that whole grant thing will be opened up. I don't know if you call it a grant or it's just funding, but it's not there yet, he said,
great,
but it
Okay.
will be within a month or two,
okay,
the ARPA stuff. So we just want to kind of tune in with people who were council members or John Bird himself. We don't want to miss that opportunity.
I believe in the last, actually in the minutes, Tabitha said she would let us know.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
that's-
she's
yeah.
integrally involved with that. So I have
Okay.
not heard anything from her.
Good.
She'll let us know, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So Cindy, should we have some kind of a time frame for this mural? Because if we don't set any deadline for choosing an artist, deadline for a proposal, and this, the year is going to go by pretty fast, and then we'll find ourselves too late to start a project like this before winter. So should we start thinking about planning?
I mentioned to Kevin that we were looking at, that we had spoken with Jamie about Mother's Day, which is sometime in May, it wasn't Mother's Day specifically. It was that usually was about the time where it gets warm enough. He agreed to that. There's a lot that needs to happen between now and then. And first of all, we need to see if he's even the person that is right to do this job.
Do we have a location? Are we firm on the locations?
As far as I know, I mean, we have to have a design approved by Mr. Ackley,
Right.
but as far as we know, it's a Long Bridge Market, correct,
Right.
Leanne?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as long as we come up with, and everything we're talking about, and the first thing I said to Kevin was something Leanne, what's the word? Come on, stop taking my words.
Not,
Non-controversial,
Yeah.
non-political.
Non-controversial, yes. So, and he immediately was like, oh yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
did
Um,
we ask him what his cost would be?
I asked him, I told him that Jamie said we were gonna pay for everything, like paints and things like that, and all the
Yep.
prep but that he was donating his time, and he said yes. That he
Yeah.
agreed to that. I think Jamie had shared that with him.
Could we do a letter to him, giving him a suggested date that we would like him to paint, and that our understanding is that he's going to donate his time, and we need a list from him as to the equipment and supplies that are needed. I think we need to lock it in a little bit.
You're right. You're right. Aline has been working on an MOU and sent me a copy of something. Was that something you two worked on together, Bruce and Aline? Or do
I
you
have a
both have-
copy of it. I talked to the people down here in DeLand that actually do this stuff. And I
Yeah.
have a copy of an agreement that they use with muralists down here, so I can send that to you.
Yeah.
It essentially covers what we're talking about. So,
Right. And Aline also has sent something to me, which is very similar.
Yeah.
But it's different from what Leanne is talking about kind of a letter of, yeah, spelling things out as
Yeah.
far as his. Now, I know that it's, this young man is definitely trying to do this, move away from home painting to doing this as a profession, or maybe just in the summertime months, when you can paint outside. But so certainly I think it came up the possibility of, I mean, is it right to not pay him?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think we have to. Let's wait until maybe we get a better indication of what he can do and so forth. But I mean, anybody, if they're going to put that kind of time into it and we pay for the paint, sure, that's okay. But I don't think that that's right to let somebody put a mural up on a building and not pay him anything for it.
Look, Bruce, if I might, the way I feel about it is I don't have any problem if we pay him or he donates his time. What my feeling is we have to say, okay, this is what we're doing, and this is our timeline, and is this timeline going to work with you? We can work out the financial aspects of it, etc.
Sure.
But we got to lock in a date, and we got to
Absolutely.
start making
Absolutely.
it happen.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'd like to see what he does. I mean,
Yes.
Never
I
worry.
don't want to be embarrassed.
Never worry.
oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Okay, I agree with that, what everybody's saying here, and but I also wanted to know, like, for Jamie and also for Kevin, who grew up on Ring Drive in Groton, these are people who really want to almost give back to the town, because they had, with Jamie, it was his service in the submarine, in the Navy, and then with Kevin, it's because he grew up here and he's very familiar with all these areas. So, although I do agree with what you are saying too, Bruce, it's a valid point, but I also want to respect their interest in giving back. And I'm pretty sure with Kevin, he's also hoping that, and this is really what Jamie always had hoped, that he might start something and bring in other people to give other people opportunities.
Mhm.
So I think that's.
I would love to have the problem of finding other locations, because
Yes.
that will be a piece of cake once we do
Yeah.
the first one.
Right.
Yes.
But
I agree.
we gotta.
Yes, we've got to get this first one done, because I'm concerned it's going to slip through our fingers.
Yeah.
And so we want to have something concrete. So
Right.
I agree. All right. All right. I am not, okay. I'm going to look back on this and say, okay, what exactly am I asking for? But I'll have this on Zoom.
So if he's giving us some, if it's okay for him to work on something nautical or lighthouse, or the Groton past, present, and future, or whatever, and he gave us something to look at. And we kind of agree that it's worth considering him. Could we have him at the next meeting and just to make contact with him and he can see all of us and
I would hope so. When I talked to him yesterday, he was in the middle of moving houses. So he was hoping that things were gonna smooth out. So I can certainly give him that date, because I also have to make sure that I'm giving him all of the ideas that we had talked about before, which was nautical. I know I've got my list somewhere, and it's probably in the minutes too somewhere.
Yeah, we have that.
But he also grew up here, so he knows about the maritime heritage, shipbuilding, all that kind of stuff.
You know, I don't want to complicate it, but do you know what the word Pequannock means?
Yeah,
Pequannock.
What is it?
it's like river or something.
Pequannock is an Indian word for summer, like summer growth, summer fishing. It's where the Indians came to in the summer, down to the flatlands by the water. And the Pequannock came out of that. I don't know exactly how, but to me, there's a lot of things that we've talked about, but I think it would be good if we really looked into what Pequannock really meant. And I can envision something on that wall that shows them growing corn and fishing and so forth, which is what started that area. And I think that could be phenomenal.
Well,
And
that's one of the ideas we gave them, an indigenous theme, you know, a couple of
Well,
guys
that's too
and a
big a
couple of
word
gals
for
in a
Bruce.
canoe coming up the river and holding
I like that word, indigenous. But well, Kevin specifically
Okay.
said he also could imagine kind of almost a timeline through, but also he is aware about something I talked about with Jamie. Jamie had brought up that some of these murals can bring people in, and they want to get their pictures taken in front of them and some things like that too. So keeping that in mind,
Yeah. Yep.
that we need. So, but that's a good idea though.
I'm sure Jimmy Streeter could probably give us one of the historians could probably bring us up to speed, or I'm sure Nancy could research it for us.
I've actually got all of Jimmy Streeter's books. Remember the first fundraiser we did? I won a basket with all his books in there. Maybe it's right in there.
I don't know if he goes back that far. Nancy, you didn't offer to do that.
Well, I offered to get Jim on it, so but let's see what this guy can do. You give him the ideas, and let's just see what he can do.
Okay.
Because we don't want to be embarrassed. Let's not be embarrassed.
Okay.
All
right. I have here also under unfinished business, the trash cleanup. Is there any ideas about the date for that? And traditionally, I know we talked about doing it differently. Traditionally, we've tried to do it the weekend of the past 2 years or whenever it started around Earth Day. But I know last year there were so many cleanups on Earth Day that we didn't get a very good turnout. So I had thought, well, maybe I wasn't sure what your date was, Leanne, but I thought possibly the 6th.
I don't have a calendar. It seemed to me it was the second Saturday in April. Seemed like I was going to be just home in time to do something with it.
Yeah, which would be the 9th, I think, because I was thinking that just the weekend before, but that's the Saturday before Easter Sunday. And I just don't know if that would be a great, I don't know. I don't know. But so then I wrote down the 9th. The 9th is the second Saturday in April, which, yes. Yep, the 9th. So you're thinking that's when it was?
I'll email John tonight, and then I will email you with the date.
Okay. All right.
Because then I think if we got busy and asked a few groups to come and help us,
Yeah, we had the cadets, or the Diddy Bag had the cadets, and
right?
there's
Just
also was, there was also recently a Facebook page post on the Connecticut, the Groton Community Forum, that's people were talking to, one person had posted about trash, which I actually don't see a lot, so, but it's certainly, that's a place we're gonna have to post something, is the Groton Community Forum, because
Yeah.
it let the people know that we are gonna do this.
The official day for Earth Day this year is April 22nd.
Right, right. So that's the
Give us
fourth.
some time.
I think that's the fourth. That would be if we did it the day after that, that's a Friday, the 23rd.
You really got to do it on a Saturday if you
Yeah,
want to.
exactly. We got to do it on a Saturday, and I don't want to do it on the weekend of Earth Day. There was just too many cleanups. It was like I felt like we were competing. It would be nice to have it staggered a little. So the 9th to me sounds, let me know if,
Yeah,
because
will.
next month is March. So we have to get this absolutely nailed down by March.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep, I will send it to you.
all right. Okay. Anything else under unfinished business?
Well,
I've also got new business, so we
Yeah.
got to try to keep them separate.
yep,
I think the fountain's gonna go under,
new business.
yeah.
The sign by Route 117 and 40L, do we have a date for that at this point?
I have not heard from Tabitha about that. The signs have arrived.
Mhm.
They look beautiful, but I don't have a date. I can't imagine they're gonna try to do it in this kind of bad, really cold
No,
weather.
they said they weren't going to do it until the ground wasn't frozen.
Okay,
They weren't even going to think about it till then.
okay. That makes sense. Okay,
They do look good though. It'll be a great place for us to be putting our plantings
yes,
and our greenery.
yes. Okay. Whenever, and that's probably not for a little while.
Well, one of the things I have for new business kind of falls in with that. Well, it wasn't my idea, so I can't take the Adeline. Why don't you tell them what we talked about?
About John Grossman and the kids at
The
the
seeds?
We were trying to talk about fundraiser and the involvement of students with us, and I know that every spring they have a sale in their greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So if we needed some plantings for areas that we could ask them to grow, then we can help them with the sale, and maybe they can have even some students help us plant, or we can have some kind of cooperation with them as a possible outcome of outreach for us. And maybe some of the students will be interested enough to come and help us on a regular basis too. Who knows?
It seems like when they have their sale of plants in the spring, they don't get it out enough, and
Right.
And that they're all plants that they grew themselves.
right. But what we were thinking is, if we know what we want to plant under the sign, around the sign, wherever we put it, I think there's a plan that Tabitha did for us.
Yep.
And our thought was that if we told them what we really need, perhaps they could grow them for us and then help us plant them if they want to, or we'll do that. And then in turn, we'll try to publicize their sale for them and do whatever we can to help. And Adeline was the one that came up with this great idea. So I got in touch with John Grossman. He's the Dean of Students up at the VOTEC. And he got in touch with the instructor for the agricultural, but I haven't heard from him.
Right.
So I went back to John and said, John, could you get me his number so I can call him?
Okay.
And so we will be following up on that, right, Aldon?
Yeah,
All right. So there, it's kind of like one hand washing the other.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I think
then
it would
try
be,
to- Okay. Maybe recruit some volunteers.
also, yeah, I'm sure that, they might be anxious to help us with it, especially if they grow them. But we'll pay for whatever they need. Tabitha and whomever is really good at that could make up a list of what we'd like to have and then ask them to grow them. And then that'll motivate us to get them planted.
Okay.
because we
Is
can
that
use annuals in the containers by the town annex. We can use annuals by the fountain in Mystic. We can use annuals by the fence in front of the Fitch Middle School.
Okay.
We can use annuals by the town hall. We'll see if we install new containers there.
Mhm,
I mean, there are
mhm.
plenty of places where we can use them.
Okay.
Nancy must have fallen out of her chair.
The vacant chair. Okay, so you're gonna still follow up on that then?
We will be working on it.
Okay,
Gotta make it happen.
okay, all right. So, let me see.
I'm sorry, the timer was going off on the stove downstairs and I don't move very well, and I'm not moving very well.
Oh, that's okay, you're forgiven.
I'm back.
You're
I'm
forgiven.
back.
I just announced that you fell out of your chair.
Just about.
Good, we don't have to send somebody on a rescue
No,
reconnaissance.
right.
All right, so we have a couple things. The Mystic Fountain, which is in downtown Mystic. There's a fountain surrounded by a stone planter, which has not been really taken care of except for by one woman who lives down in downtown Mystic. She is a member of the Garden Club, but the Garden Club does so many other things. They didn't want to take this on, but this one member has been doing it pretty much on her own. I talked with her many months ago. The Mystic Garden Club wrote a very nice letter to the town saying, you guys need to take this over, basically. And then
Where
it
is
came back.
Where is it? Can
It's
you-
the fountain in front of the book club.
Oh, the big fountain. Oh.
Yes.
Ooh.
So, and then it came right back to me, are you guys willing to take this on, the beautification committee? The biggest problem was two big problems. There's not a lot of soil, so it's gonna dry out very quickly, and there's no source of water. So Anne Esposito had been doing this. She had been using water, I believe it was from Densmore Oil, allowed her to connect a hose and water. But it wasn't an easy undertaking. Since then, Tabitha made up a plan, which I sent out to everybody. Unfortunately, she just did a planting for the fountain, but the entire area needs to be taken care of, not just the fountain. And even though she said she was choosing drought tolerant plants, she still called for them to be watered every day. Anyways, so I sent that to you. Since then, Rachel Franco on her own contacted Larry Grundy, who's a Groton resident who also owns a business, and I've been in touch with him also. He's been in touch with me rather, and he wants to help out. So she had him, he's proposing to take care of the area himself if we provide the plants. So now we've got Tabitha doing one thing, I've got Rachel doing another thing. I am not sure, I guess they had asked the the janitorial group that takes care of the bathrooms downstairs, I mean, downtown, to water, and that would be, you know, an expensive undertaking. So anyways, that's where that stands.
Could I make a suggestion?
Absolutely, please do.
I'm not there, so you'd have to FaceTime or something, but I think we need to have a meeting down there, because they're also asking us to take care of the area around the statue of a notorious runner.
John Kelly, well, that wasn't a request by the Mystic group. That because it's interesting, because the fountain is one thing. I've always wondered about John Kelly. The statue, because it looks neglected. And the other areas by the bathrooms, which I specifically requested be cleaned up this year because it was a hot mess, and it was cleaned up, but it's not maintained. So
Is this Parks and Rec? Is this the Parks and Rec responsibility, however?
well, the
Not really.
fountain was part of the streetscape, was never planted. So it was part of the streetscape. They put it in and then nobody ever did anything with it.
Mhm.
So it never, from what I understand, Missy knows a lot about this. Missy and I had talked about it. I talked with Ann Esposito quite a bit about it. It was kind of like it was put in, but there was no plan to actually plant it or maintain it. So,
Brother.
So there
yes.
are, Cindy, there really are some really good plants in there that are perennials. They're the bush-like plants that are the kind of the baseline. But every season, the plantings change depending on the season, that are annuals or pumpkins or decorations. And I guess it's really harder than you may think to water. I watered it a couple times with Ann, and you have to pull the hose. It takes a strong man. We don't have any kind of a truck like New London does, where they come around with a tank on it with a hose. There's nothing like that in the Groton Public Works Department that can bring water to a site. No.
I don't know. Somebody had suggested that, but I don't know. I've never seen one.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But you know,
Do we want to dilute our efforts with maintenance when our calling is to like do things that beautify Groton that aren't being done yet?
No, I don't think it's a great idea for us to take it on. It's much more than imagine.
Well,
Let's turn it back into a fountain and throw money in it.
There's
Because
no-
all the tourists will want to throw money in there, and we can make money.
it's really, it was a dry fountain from the beginning. It was very
It was-
interesting.
It's
We
sculpture
just
like.
put water in it, people will want to throw coins in it.
3 coins in a fountain, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
Bottom is really also in trouble. The base of it, which is a very important corner when you're crossing and when you're standing there, is really looking poorly. It needs to be replanted with a hardy, drought resistant.
yeah, like sedum and cactus.
Yeah.
Um,
So it needs new plantings, and that's fairly easy to do. We could probably do that.
Grundy offered to do all that. That's why I think we need to have an on-site thing, because he said that he would put in the plantings, and he goes to Chelsea once a week, and he said at that time he would do what he could at that time. I don't know exactly what that is, but probably we need to have a meeting with him on site, talk about it, how to make it simplistic, and what we could or we could not do in order to give anybody an answer. But I think the bulk of it he is prepared to do.
Yes,
And-
that's what,
Does he own one particular business that it's not the flower,
He has a landscaping business.
the landscaping? Okay, good.
So
Yeah.
I'm quite sure, and he's a very, very generous man. The whole family is.
Mhm.
And I'm sure if he says that he's going to do something like this, he's going to want to do it so he can be proud of it. Number
Mhm.
one, because that's his business.
right.
And
All right, so that, it sounds to me like we would like to, because I'm happy to do a little something, but I would, when I talked with Ann and she said that she was watering it, I thought, oh, that
No, I think that we could
That's too
probably,
much.
if we got him so that he really did do it, they have a pretty good business association down there.
Mhm.
And we might be able to meet with them and say, look, we're doing everything we can to try to make this as attractive as we possibly can. But what we need from the business association is you guys to figure out some way to water it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe we can work together with them on making that happen. And I also said that if we can put this together and we can do it, then I think that what we should do is put a sign that says that the Grundy family was instrumental in this, along with the Groton Beautification Committee.
Sure.
So that, again, people can see that there really are things being done.
The
Right.
only problem I have with that is this Ann Esposito has been doing this, getting donations for years and years and years. Now she gets nothing after literally doing this for I don't know how many years.
No,
But
we can certainly do something for her.
sensitive to that. What's that?
We could certainly do something to recognize her. Maybe what we could do is the day that we actually, say it's completed, and then we could have a little ceremony and certainly do something, because
I
it
might
is.
even include her in the planning, invite her to the table
Yeah.
when doing the planning, because she would know really what,
I think that would be very nice. I'm happy you mentioned that, because I wouldn't want to do something and not recognize people that have donated their time.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good idea.
That's the other idea that I wanted to follow up on, is that the letters to merchants and business owners, which I can talk about at some point if you want, Cindy, to send a letter out to individuals who've done something really better, their frontage, their landscape, their building, something. I
Right.
sent you something to
Yes,
read.
you did. Yeah, I really appreciated that. Those were great. And I think, this would be businesses, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have a group, and they have a leader, and they have leadership, and I'm sure we could have a meeting and talk and see how we could make it happen, because it's good for everybody. It's good for their businesses, and it's good for Groton, and we can take better care of John Kelly, and
Right. We're actually, right. I agree with that. But now we're actually going to talk a little bit about this, letter of appreciation that Missy, the Mystic Garden Club does. And Missy sent me some really good information. I'm wondering if, I think I probably need to have a discussion with you, Missy, because I am happy if we come up together as a group with what we want to achieve and what we're asking for. If you are willing to take that over, I'm happy for that. I got a little more clarification from
go for it, Cindy.
Rachel, because I thought, our committee was a 5+2 alternates. And she's like, oh no, those are the voting members, and you can have lots of other members. So it's yeah, see, I'm such a novice. So
it's all right.
So obviously, Missy, you are absolutely a member. You're not a voting member, but you certainly are a strong participant in this group. And I certainly feel like you have a great knowledge and background in this, and I think you could really spearhead it so that we all knew, okay, we're going to get it out there, we're going to get the information out there, and we want people to vote on places. And then the question is, how do we then get businesses to kind of jump in so that they are vying for this? It's, yes, it's an award, but it's the, what am I trying to say?
Once they put the award up in their business or in their office, it's kind of by word of mouth spreads. And then we do get coverage in the day on occasion. It doesn't work every time, but when we give an award out, we do call the day, and sometimes they're present, sometimes they take a picture, sometimes we submit a picture to the day of the presentation of the award. So it does kind of take on a life of its own and begins to, start rolling. So
Yeah, they get a little competition. And how many awards is there per year?
Well, we're not tied into what they do, but we could give as many as we want. I mean, I think we give like 2 or 3 as needed,
Maybe separating into categories or something like what if the library did something versus a privately owned business?
I think it's more like a privately owned business. You're trying to encourage individuals, business owners,
Okay.
merchants. Like for instance, like if Johnson's Hardware did something great to the front of their building, if they planted trees, they planted some bushes in the front, then we would be able to thank them and with this letter and get them some press, hopefully, some business.
Yeah. Same thing. Have you been to the barn on?
I think
it's beautifully done.
Yes, I think they're really good.
Yeah.
They've done a nice job.
All right.
So we just to kind of figure out the first paragraph, which is kind of the philosophical part. What is the beautification committee and why we're giving this award? I just don't feel that I should be making that first paragraph. I think perhaps you, maybe Leanne, can talk about and figure out, state, kind of what we're doing and what our purpose. And then after that, I can take over and run with it. I can make the format that needs to be duplicated, and you just fill in the merchant's name and you frame it nicely.
Okay.
And then it's given to the merchant.
I think that's a lovely idea.
You know, and if we ever need something a little bit more, the person that's been very generous about awards and plaques and so forth is Greatest Jewelers, because they have a place in Norwich where they make them. And if it's a community thing, they've donated them before when I needed them.
Like for a plaque?
Yeah. If you were like that lady that did so much, we might want to put a plaque up on the building for her. Who knows, but we have somebody that's been very generous in the past. I hope they're not listening to the meeting because I hadn't talked to them, but I'm sure they would be in the future.
Okay. All
They're
right.
just
Awesome.
a nice, wonderful Groton family.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. The one last thing I wanted to mention.
Get your next diamond there, will you? Did you hear me? Missy,
Say that again.
I said, get your next diamond there.
Your next diamond. Dime in. What? Okay.
Got it.
The other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, because it came up with regards to watering, was we've been talking about, we have this nice list of plants that Tabitha came up with. And I just would like to remind everybody that Tabitha is a landscape designer and she's very capable of basically doing anything we ask her to do. But she came up with a really nice group of plants to go along Route 1. I did receive, a request from a resident to work on that evergreen planting area along Route 1 that we'd already talked about. But Aline and I were talking about it. We thought, how in the heck? I mean, that was the list that Aline came up with just for plants was over $7,000. Let's round up to 8,000. And that's for a partial area. All that stuff has to get watered. Like, we can't plant something if we don't have any. There is no such thing as a
why don't we
a low maintenance, but there's no maintenance plantings.
If you'd like, I'd be more than happy to ask John Burt if we could invite your good friend from who's been helping us with projects, Public Works, and maybe we could talk with him about how difficult it would be if we were doing something very special to add a water line so that it could be watered regularly. It's a possibility.
From where? From the town hall?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's water lines everywhere. So
you mean this from the main water line?
I don't really know what would be possible, but it would be worth talking with him. He's been very, very gracious with everything we've talked with him about.
Yeah.
And you know, he may, other places water things, so maybe he knows something we don't know anything about, and
Right. I agree.
he could help
Okay.
us.
Mm.
And
Was-
once the trees get established, they
Right.
won't need ongoing water. This kind
Right,
of low
exactly.
area.
The first
Yeah,
year.
it-
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not long-term, but it's probably for a year or two, depending on the size of plantings we were putting in. But also I would like to really focus on a few things that we've already talked about, which is the mural. And I still would like to finish up working on seeing if we could get some trees for Johnson's Hardware. So I know that it's okay to plant there, but I don't know if there's any utilities there yet. And then I haven't discussed it with Mr. Johnson and as to what trees might be a good choice. So anyways, there's a few things that need to happen, but I would be happy to send an email to Greg and say, hey, all I know is that they're gonna put a bathroom in at Sutton Park, and that was one of the big expenses, was getting water and sewage out to that area, which is not that far.
Well,
Cindy, Johnson's Hardware, are they ahead in line of getting trees as opposed to Fort Hill Road? Have I missed something? Is there a change of?
No,
Prior-
Fort Hill Road is a huge multi-year project. Johnson's could be taken care of in a few hours. That's the difference. And watering 3 trees is a lot different than watering an entire, very large area.
You know, if it comes to it, I'll get one of those big things you put in the back of the truck, you fill it up with water and you go and do the watering. And
Well, I mean, Aline and I watered Sutton Park and a little bit around the town hall. And I got to tell you, it was a major pain in the neck, and it took a lot of time and effort. And that was one small area.
well, that's
So-
why, have you seen those things that go in your truck? They're big. They're probably.
I'm just saying, you still have to get there every day and water. Not every day. I mean, you would plant in the fall, and then you'd, water once a week, probably.
Now,
shrubs.
does Public Works definitely not have one of those pump trucks? Do we know for
I
certain?
have
that-
no idea. I have no idea.
Well, when we invite him for a meeting, we can talk to him about a whole bunch of things.
Mhm.
Greg?
that would be- have a
I
meeting.
like him too much to do that to him. No, I will, I can certainly discuss with him of these different water things, the same as John. The interesting thing is, I mean, I get the feeling that everybody wants something to happen, but they haven't really looked at all the logistics, especially, I mean, the Mystic Fountain is a perfect example of that. Oh, how lovely, let's put it in, but then there was no thought about planting it and then maintaining it. And so Anne took it on, and she's ready. She's done it for quite a few years, and she's ready to have somebody else take it on.
Well, that's why we need to have a meeting on site, ask Mr. Grundy to come, talk about it while we're looking at it.
Okay.
See what's feasible,
Yep.
because without that, we can't really make a decision. We can't go forward. It might be too big, a
Right.
project.
Yeah.
We got to go there.
I would
and-
really, to me, simplicity is the best. Like let's just keep it simple. And if that's always, especially in a challenging place to grow. I mean, I would hate to put a tremendous amount of effort into it and have it fail, because that, you want to start slow and simple, and then you can add on to it. But you're right, Leanne, I think it would be a very good idea if we have somebody who lives here, who's interested in doing this. You're right. We need to follow through. So I'll be in touch with Rachel.
I'll make a motion that we have a meeting with Mr. Grundy. Perhaps Rachel could join us. We would invite Public Works and go down there and have a conversation as to what's possible and what's not possible.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
And do you want to also do something similar for the Fort Hill Road? Have we is that tabled for now? I don't quite know where
You
that
got,
goes.
you got a motion on the floor. You gotta wait till we
Yeah.
vote on it.
I thought
Yeah, no, yeah, so there's a motion on the floor, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion about the motion on the floor?
I think we've discussed it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think we may want to invite Anne Esposito too.
Okay, so okay.
So
Let's all,
might as well have all the ideas. She has the experience. And so
Cindy, you shouldn't be having more discussion. You should just be getting the vote, the final vote. Then you can go to more discussion about anything.
okay.
are you supposed to discuss before you vote? Okay, all right.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Well, no, I mean, I said I thought.
No,
Okay,
no
so-
problem, no problem.
All right, so all in favor of, I don't even, yeah, of meeting with Larry Grundy and maybe some town staff and staff member, members of the beautification committee, say aye.
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Nancy?
I said I.
Oh, okay, I couldn't, okay.
Yep,
All
And
right.
absolutely.
Am I right? I'm not supposed to be voting, so.
Correct, correct,
Okay.
yes. We still want to hear from you, but you can't vote. All right, any opposed? I think that's all of us. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
All right, motion carries. I will work on that. Okay, but you aren't going to be back until April, right?
Just
could-
go, somebody can do FaceTime with me on their phone and
Okay.
I'll know what's going on.
Okay,
We don't want to hold it up. We want to move
Okay.
forward.
Right, yep.
all right, I will work
Bruce
on
can
that.
do the same thing.
All right. All right. And then Misty brought up the other area. No, I think that we still will need to discuss that. However, that is a long-term project that's going to take has a lot of moving pieces. The first thing I want to address is is there water? Is there a possibility of water? And so it looks like I have a lot of things to talk with Greg about. I know that the town is very enthusiastic about having our input and our help, but I also don't want to overextend what we're tasked with doing. I think that there's a lot of community support for that area. The area now I'm talking about along Route 1. I do think there's a lot of support for that. It's just the question is, I found myself wondering if some fencing wouldn't be a better way to deal with parts of it. And I still
Have we found out from the state who owns what? How much land is the state where the property owners?
the state is not even a concern. It's the Groton, the town of Groton. There's a GIS map that shows basically there's a fence line behind people's homes, although it's not always clear, but there is definitely a fence line of which the town has access. And so the town the town is able to do whatever it wants, and not whatever it wants, obviously, but they could do some screening.
Plant along that line, okay.
And another person that we've worked with in the past who works for the highway department had sent a letter saying, hey, be aware that when there's a lot of snow, we plow that big sidewalk there. And
We're going to have to go through a year and see what happens. That's the only way we're ever really going to know. I mean, we can plant and put it back and try to be aware of that. But until somebody comes with a plow, what are we going to know?
Well, but Elaine has taken pictures to see like, are they plowing up the soil on either side? And they're not. They're just plowing this wide sidewalk, and then what it's going to do is heap some snow on either side.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't look right now, because she's gone at least twice to take pictures, that it would really harm things horribly.
No, not even after the biggest snowstorm we had. It didn't look like it would be a major issue.
Yeah.
Good,
If we planted, 5-foot 5-inch tall saplings, yeah, that's gonna be a problem, but that's not what we're looking at here.
You know, there's some very attractive fencing now, as I go around to different homes, I see some that's just unbelievable. And it might make a little difference in the cost, but I think it would make it so the people going by would be pleased with it and the homeowners would be pleased with it.
Right,
And it might be a whole lot simpler if we looked into what there really is out there for fencing.
right, and I think that that's kind of my point is let's just keep our mind open. What we're looking at is beautification and, you know, some type of screening, attractive screening along that area. So what are the possibilities, opportunities? We're all thinking living things, or maybe it's a combination of both, where there's a clear area where it's going to be easy to plant and maintain, and other areas where a fence, an attractive fence, which is kind of what we're looking for, is something that's going to add to the beauty of the area. That's a possibility. So, you know, and you're right, that the cost is different, but digging up the area and planting plants is not always is not an inexpensive undertaking either. So, anyways,
If anybody wants to make a call, we have a very good fencing company in Groton. They're down by the airport. What's their name, Bruce?
I don't know, but I'm gonna have to call them myself.
Well, maybe when you do, you could invite them to educate us a little bit on what there is for, decorative fencing.
Yeah.
If you want, Cindy.
I think it's a little premature for that. But it'd be nice to have the contact. I'm not sure that we're ready to.
I drove him crazy on the council. I was always going, let's do it.
Yeah, but anyways, just keep it in the forefront of your mind when you drive by and when this does occur, we are gonna have to let people, the property owners know. We have a list of property owners. It's really not as many as I thought it was gonna be. We would have to let them know that there's gonna be this development behind them.
We have a member of our group, not a board member, but a member of our group. It's funny, I was reading her resume online the other day and she mentioned being a member of the Beautification Club, and she lives down there. And she's very, very active in their community group down there. And when I think of her name, I will send it to you.
Okay. I didn't think there was, I know there used to be a group, but we'd heard since that there wasn't an active group down there right now.
Well, they still do some things. And as I say, she's a very, very nice lady, very intelligent, and very persuasive in her neighborhood.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think she would be very, very helpful.
Okay.
So maybe I'll
Okay.
get the name, and maybe we can invite her to start coming on to observe some of our meetings.
Yeah. I mean, I realized that we also, it would be good for when we do actually have projects that we need to put our hands up, whether it's a mural or a planting or a cleanup. It'd be, the more community members we have, the better. I mean, think about it. I mean, Missy is here all the time. She's willing to take on a lot of work, and she's not a voting member, but she makes a tremendous contribution. So finding a few more people like that would be really nice. And maybe some of these landscapers who have reached out, maybe they would want to come to the meetings, and then they'd say, oh, well, I can do that. Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
I do have another gentleman, this guy, Chris Bates. I haven't talked with him yet, but I'm wondering wouldn't it be nice, say if we had Larry to do one part of town, maybe Chris would, he says he does a lot of work in our area. Maybe that's the type of thing I could, if we had a couple, I wouldn't want to say to Larry, oh, can you do this? And can you also do this? But if Chris wanted to be involved, it's like, hey, come look at this area. If he's familiar with Groton, he's going to know exactly what we're talking about. What are your ideas?
Yeah, I have to apologize. I've got another Zoom meeting I have to go to.
Oh, actually, we're at 6:39. So I wanted to just announce that our next meeting is March 14th. We're going to continue with Zoom until Leanne and Bruce get back, and then I'm hoping we might be able to meet in person. But for now, and will you be post-surgery then?
Yes,
Nancy?
I'm available. I'll be available.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
All right. So
absolutely.
5:30 by Zoom on the 14th. Is there anything else anybody needs that we haven't covered here?
March, what is it? March what?
March 14th?
13th
That's
is a
St.
Sunday.
Patrick's Day?
14th. 14th. March 14th?
14th is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm not speaking clearly.
March 14th is a Monday.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
yes. Remember this, we're doing the Tuesday here, so Bruce wouldn't get in trouble with his wife on Valentine's Day.
Bruce, just before I go, could I ask you a question, Bruce?
Yeah, sure.
I got a request from you for Facebook. Was that you?
No,
Okay. I'm having a terrible time with my Facebook. So
it's everywhere now. It's just unbelievable. I got a message today from Lowe's saying that I was expecting an order today. It was like $900, and if it wasn't me, to check back with Lowe's, and it's just spoofing everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah, I got one today for $993.
Well, you know,
I don't
say, you
think
can
so.
pay me that, but all right.
Yeah.
Well, if we're all set, I need to, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Okay, 6:41. Okay, you guys are just the best.
Bye, guys. Well,
And
thanks.
thank you. Good to see all of you. Look forward to enjoy that warm weather, you too.
You
Missy,
bet.
I'll be in touch sometime this week. Are you around?
Cindy, who are you talking?
Yeah, Missy, you.
Yes, I'll be around.
All right, awesome, great. All right, guys.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Good to see you. Take care.
Nice to see
Bye.
everybody.
Yes.